Islam?
Islam.
Love, Father of the universe.
Love, Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth. Peace.
Freedom.
Justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide. In my salvation.
And my salvation.
By night.
And by day.
Through his holy prophet.
Through Ali.
Amen.
Amen.
Praise Allah. I give praise to Allah,
Praise to Allah.
Father of the universe.
Father of the universe.
I give honor to the noble prophet, through Ali,
I give honor to the noble prophet, through Ali,
founder of the Most High's Temple of America.
founder of the Most High's Temple of America.
I give honor to Brother Marcus Garvey,
I give honor to Brother Marcus Garvey,
who paved the way for the prophet.
Pave the way for the prophet.
I give honor to our past supreme grand advisors and moderators
I give honor
To our past supreme God,
of the Most High's Temple of America.
of the
Most High's Temple of America.
Brother C. Cutman Bay,
Brother C. Kirkman Bay.
Brother Nelson Bay,
Brother Nelson Bay,
Brother J. Blakely Bay,
Brother J. Blakely.
Brother Oliver,
Brother Arnold,
Brother Brad Sheik Ali of the Most High's Temple of America.
All blessed sheep of the Most High's Temple of America.
I give honor to all grand governors,
Give honor to all grand governors,
assistant grand governors,
assistant grand governors,
grand sheiks,
grand sheiks,
assistant grand sheiks,
assistant grand sheiks,
sheiks and sheikas in the Most High's Temple of America.
sheiks and sheiks of the Most High's Temple of America.
I give honor to all things that the prophet brought,
Give honor to all things that the prophet brought,
the uplifting of holy man.
for the uplifting
Lord
of
of man.
humanity.
You see, salvation of God, unity, Most High's Temple of America, divine constitution, and Bible Act. At once. The grand sheik and the chairman of the Most High's Temple of America is about to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the prophet, the grand body of the Most High's Temple of America. The assistant grand sheik is to assist the grand sheik in all affairs, if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and is known for the members of the Most High's Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is a holy day of rest because on Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended to his Father God Allah. For that cause Friday is a holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Most High's Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that will harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must observe these holy and divine laws. And all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Martian American, you are a part and a parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Most High's Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and a partial of this said government, and know that they are Negroes, colorful black people, Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779, and lasted to 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the governments they live in the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble Jew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, who inhabited northwestern, southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members properly attend their meetings and become a part and a portion of all of the lifting acts of the Most High's Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Most High's Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faith. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband, take care of your children, and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother. and become industrious and become a part of the infinite for humanity. All more Americans will keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant from a holy prophet, Dr. Drew Ali, through the guidance was Father God Allah. Dr. Drew Ali founder, more American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Zion Temple, America. Home office 2905 Fifth Street Southeast, Washington, D.C. 20032. We now read from our additional law by the prophet. Questioning additional from motion by the prophet of Drew Ali at 1. Grand chiefs and governors, heads of temples, all businesses. He said temple must be approved by the prophet of Drew Ali. When the members let it be financed properly. Any line of life that will cause members to find a section that will cause support of any group of members. Any form of order that violates these laws is subject to removal from his office and they have restricted censorship by the prophet or the Koran sheet. Act 2. All members are to attend the adult meetings and the public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around a meeting period, shall be fined 50% on first case, and on the second, he will fine $1. Which will go in your emergency fund. If members working monthly dues must be paid. Must be paid. And if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the more uplifted fund, because his finance to uplift the nation. Act 3. It is lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able to finance, to aid in saving the nation. And if he does not, he is enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people and just as much attention. Let it be he or she, according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power vested in my hands, and I will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag, must be radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we have to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school. And the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire. And that every member exercises 5 senses was able to do so, because out from the Sunday school comes the guidance of the nation. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and a parcel of this said government. Know that they're not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by them which live in the nation of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Dr. Drew Ali as prophet to redeem his people from the sinful ways. More Shemers are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who would have the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a portion of all of the different acts of the Moorish Science Temple. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple. Then you're entitled to the name of faith. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children. Look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must follow the mother and become industrious and become a part of the uplifting of all humanity. All moral members must keep their hearts and minds filled with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant from your holy prophet, Dr. Drew Ali, will guide us. Let's follow God. Now read from Koran, chapter 48. According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family. Because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race, descendants of the ancient Canaanites nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. Peace. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully we have a good Sunday school. exercise your 5 senses. Hopefully you'll be able to come out with something that can help you along your journey. And now, teaching something. Okay. Just being with us, the grand sheep for the Archer, grand moderator, is our Sunday school instructor. And he'll be up short. Hope you're doing well, Morris. It's a good day.
Yes, sir.
It was dreary out there, but that's okay. And pay attention, you know what I mean? So that we can really get a good understanding of what the prophet is saying, what he's telling us. So once again, I'd like to call Lord Jones Bay, our Sunday school instructor, and she can moderate it for more science chapter.
Islam.
Okay, let's say the prayer. Allah, the Father
of the universe,
Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through His holy prophet, through Ali. Amen.
Praise Allah.
Praise Allah.
Okay, good. Listen, before we begin, I ate something that didn't agree with me. So I'm going to work with this. But in the event that I can't go any further, brother, P.J. Seal will come forward. He'll complete the class. So I just want to give you the explanation. You know, I want to welcome our brothers and sisters from Temple 11. You know, more, stand up and introduce yourself.
Islam Moors. First, I rise and give praises to Allah and high honors to the Prophet, Noble Ali, to the forerunner, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, as John was to Jesus about 2,000 years ago. Praise Allah. I give honors to the leadership here at the Moorish Science Temple of America, to my brothers and sisters in Islam. I give honors where honors are due. I give honors where honors are due. I give honors to each and every one of you. Islam Moors.
Islam.
Brother A. Surio, Temple number 11, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Peace.
Islam.
Islam says.
I give honors to Prophet Noble Ali, and I give honor to each and every one of you. My name is Sister Amina Sordell, and alongside of us is my husband's daughter, Sister Brianna Seward.
Praise Allah. Thank you. Welcome.
Peace.
Peace. Peace. Islam.
Okay, let's get started. First of all, why are we here? Why are we here today? What are we here to do? What are we here to do today? Come on.
Uplift our knowledge and understanding.
Uplift our knowledge and understanding. Okay, that's good. Somebody else. What are we here to do today? That's good. That's a good answer. Come on, Mo.
We're here to learn.
We're here to learn. That's good. That's good. Come on, Mo.
Get a clear conception of what the prophet really is for to us.
You get a clear conception of what the prophet knows to do out of his work. That's good. That's good. What else? Come on, Mo.
Islam Moors, I've already risen. When I think of that question, I think of social duties.
Okay.
To receive and confer reciprocal helps and mutual obligations.
Okay.
And those protections from injuries.
Okay.
And how shall we do it but in this society,
Okay.
in our society?
Okay.
And that's my
Okay.
thought.
That's good. That's
Peace.
Good. That's good. That's good. Somebody else. See, because you know, come on, my sister.
Islam. I would say to develop our understanding of what the prophet has brought us.
That's good. That's right. That's right. That's right. What else? Remember, to establish a better communication with God. We're trying to reach out and touch who? Allah. We're trying to establish our means of communication with God. Because you see, it is his gift that will enable us to understand what the prophet has brought to us. Because don't you want to be able to talk to your father?
That's right.
I mean, don't you want to be able to talk to your father just like we're talking now?
That's right.
Without being reluctant or holding back, because we're not quite sure he exists. We're not quite sure he exists. We talk about him, we pray to him, and we try to follow the instructions that the prophet brought to us, but sometimes we're not quite sure he exists. Sometimes it's difficult to even determine, or sometimes it's really, really difficult to say that he's in those who we come in contact with on a daily basis. Don't you know each time you walk by a fellow being, Allah is in there? So if we can accept the fact that Allah exists within those whom we come in contact with, maybe when we pass each other, we may not say it verbally, but maybe inwardly we can acknowledge God's existence.
That's right.
Well, maybe we just might be able to say, and regardless of what they may display, maybe we can still acknowledge that Allah is in man.
That's right.
And if that be the case, if we can acknowledge that Allah is in man, what type of impact does that have on us? Come on, babe.
We will, from what I'm thinking at this time, I believe we will treat one another much better, or be more careful in how we treat one another. Because what we do to that spirit that's in them, we do to the great God. So we'll be a little more conscious of what we do, say, and think about one another. Because in that inner self is the spirit of the great God that's within. Regardless of what the condition outwardly looks. So we won't be so quick to condemn. We won't be so quick to judge. And we won't be so quick to push them to the side. Because that spirit is in them. And that is the great God that's in them, that's working out their life something.
And I tell you something else, it helps. It helps. It takes strength to do that.
Praise God, yes.
See, it takes strength for me to acknowledge that Allah is in someone I don't like. Or I'm learning to become much more accommodating to. See, as I'm learning to love instead of hate, I have to go through this series of transitions. And in those transitional periods, I have to be able to still see God in those whom I come in contact with, regardless of how I may feel personally.
That's right. Yes,
and that takes strength. Come on, Neil.
Islam also. Very good. All honor to the prophet of God. And you're right. It takes strength, and that strength comes through our practice. And one of the things that should help us. It should help us is this. When we first start to see him within ourselves. See, he said, know thyself and thy Father God of love. And then once if we accept it, we have to start to realize that, well, if he's in me, and he ain't make me by myself, then he must exist in others that look just like him. So that's one of the things that helps me, because I know he wouldn't just favor me alone.
That's right. Come on. That's right. So
that's what helps. And of course, with these teachers, it does give you a better understanding of, why Allah is within.
Yeah, yeah. See, if we don't, and that's the truth. See, if we don't acknowledge the existence of Allah in our brothers and sisters, how are we dedicated to the program of uplifting fallen humanity? Because we're not looking, if we don't acknowledge that Allah exists in them, how do we look at humanity?
Yes.
And how are we affected in the program? Come on.
Islam. That brings me to the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Circle 7, Chapter 8, page 13. And this is in terms of Allah and how we see him in practice. Allah's, I'm going to go to instruction number 7. Allah's meeting place with man is in the heart.
Yes.
And in a still small voice, he speaks.
Yes.
And he who hears is still.
Yes.
And all the people said, teach us to know the Holy One who speaks within the heart.
Yes.
Aloud, the still small voice. And Jesus said, the holy breath cannot be seen with mortal eyes, nor can man see the spirit of the Holy One. But in their image, man was made. And he who looks into the face of man looks at the image of Allah who speaks within. And when man honors man, like the brother had said, he honors Allah. And what man does for man, he does for Allah. And you must bear in mind that when man harms in thought or word or deed another man, he does a wrong to Allah. If you would serve Allah who speaks within the heart, just serve your near kin and those who are of no kin, the stranger at your gates, the foe who seeks to do you harm. Assist the poor and help the weak. Do harm to none and come what is not yours.
That's right.
Then, with your tongue, the holy breath, the Holy One will speak, and he will smile behind your tears, light your countenance with joy, and fill your hearts with peace.
Yes.
And that takes a lot of practice.
Yes.
Peace, Morris.
Yes. But the question, listen what he said. When you look, how many times have we done a wrong to Allah with how we have addressed each other? I mean, because we know we're doing a wrong.
That's right.
We're doing a wrong, and how often have we done that?
That's right.
Well, we need to become conscious of these things. Yes. Because if we don't, we'll be like unto those who fall by climbing.
That's right.
We got to acknowledge these things.
That's right.
Come on, brother.
Islam, in all actuality, we be doing the wrong. We think we be doing the wrong to the person.
Right.
That's in front of us or that we encounter.
Right.
That's right.
That's our focus. We unconsciously, we don't even realize we're doing the wrong to Allah.
That's right.
We ought to do the wrong to the person.
That's right. And that is. But we look at the person as the body. And man is not the body. So we look at the person as the person who's done something to us or something that we didn't like. And we respond in likeness to it based on what we think we see. And what we're seeing is just a manifestation that's not even real. Come on.
You know, one thing too, Brother Lee, and I think what I'm learning is to be more conscious of it, because what we're doing the harm to ourselves.
Yes. Yes.
See, we don't realize the harm we do to ourselves when we harm that spirit that's within, because what we do to another, we do to ourselves.
Yes.
See, if we wonder why we have these pains and these hardships and these conditions, but we create them.
Yes.
And sometimes we have a tendency to don't want to accept it.
Yes.
But what the prophet is letting us know, we have to accept it, because if we don't start accepting what part we play, we're going to continue to go through these things.
Yes. 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 See, a lot of times things befall us and we say, it's the will of Allah.
Come on.
But it may be the result of the wrongs you've done to Allah.
Come on, man.
with how you have responded and treated other people.
That's right.
And what you think when you make it doesn't have to come out. It's inside. What we do from within ourselves, not outside. Come on.
Are you saying that the ones that unconscious of other law are accountable for their actions?
Yes, I'm saying that everybody's accountable for their actions.
That's
Just
right.
because you're unconscious don't mean you're not accountable.
Yes.
You still create. You don't stop creating because you are unconscious. That's the problem. We are unconsciously creating conditions that we must experience based on the understanding that we don't have.
But what are you creating?
Hell.
So if you creating hell, then and you here to try to get the hell off you by the knowledge and understanding. So they don't have it. They don't continue to create hell. We're just blessed to get it.
Look, they sometimes what happens is this. You're not aware of what you are actually doing to yourself.
Yeah, you're not.
You don't realize
That's right.
what you're doing to yourself.
That's right. They don't know.
We don't always know.
Right. That's it.
Oh,
That's it.
We don't always know the harm or what we're doing to ourselves.
That's right.
Come on, Mom.
That's right.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
and along that line, you know, with the spirit of Allah being in man,
Yes.
remember what the prophet said. He said, one of the things he said was, some of my best boys are still in the church.
That's what he said.
Our development, man's development is not singularly in here in the moral science temple of America.
Right. Right.
Allah has sent guidance to every nation, tribe, and tongue.
Yes.
So those who are practicing wherever they're at,
Yes.
they're unfolding just like we're unfolding. The blessing that we have is we're in the moral science temple of America. But how about when the prophet tells us that he got good morals and dirty morals?
Yeah.
So everybody who's in here, and the prophet even said it in one occasion, I don't know why all these people in here,
Yeah.
Right.
they're not all going to be saved.
That's right.
I'm paraphrasing, not quoting verbatim.
Yeah.
But the point is, everybody that's in the moral science of America isn't conscious, and not only that, we are all still learning.
Yes.
So we got to go through this thing. It's not just you show up and all of a sudden you got all the understanding. You don't.
Right. Right.
You got to work on what he's giving you, and you got to put it in your head and heart.
That's right.
And then we got to turn from sin and strive for purity and life. And that takes a time, and it takes strength.
Yes.
So where you think you're most strong might be where you're most weak.
Yes.
So you should come in here and say that we versus they. There's no we versus they.
Yeah.
All of mankind is in a fallen stage
That's right.
through sin and disobedience. And we just been woke up in love trying to come up out of that darkness, and it's still going to take us a time because we got work to do.
Yeah.
We don't know what we did in the past life. So we reaping some of what we sowed from what we created before now.
You know, I'll tell you something too. You know, just because we are conscious of some things does not mean that we are conscious.
That's right.
We are conscious of some things,
Mm-hmm.
but some things we are still very ignorant to.
That's right.
And if we're not careful, that ignorance, even though we are conscious of some things,
Mm-hmm.
that ignorance can take us out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I believe he redeemed us of our sinful ways.
Yes.
Yeah. And the ways he put us on.
Yes.
There's many behaviors, like people say, many behaviors we adopted
Yes.
in our ignorance, in the lack of knowledge of a thing.
Yes.
That has become habit form.
Yes.
That we have yet to let go.
Yes.
That can be just as harmful to the things we have let go.
Yes.
So that's why reflection is our business.
Yes.
And the more we study and try to learn what the prophet is bringing us, the more we can start taking our axe and cutting away them naughty uses on game farm, if we choose to.
If we choose. Yes.
Please.
Yes. If we choose to. Yes, ma'am.
It's normal, and that's part of the whole piece. The prophet is trying to make man conscious, bring man into the consciousness that man and Allah want.
Yes.
That's the whole part of the whole piece.
Yes, yes, yes. So remember, there are certain degrees of consciousness.
That's right.
And what we are trying to do is continue to develop our degree of consciousness. See, it's a certain thing called being fully conscious. See, when you're fully conscious, then you can rest assured that you and the Father are one. When you're fully conscious. Because in fullness of consciousness, you are in the awareness that you are always, always in the presence of God. And that awareness helps you to watch what you say, watch what you do, watch what you act, because you are now in the flow of the Holy Breath. See, consciousness is being in the flow of the Holy Breath. You understand? You know why? Why do you think consciousness is being in the flow of the Holy Breath? What is the Holy Breath? It's a what? It's a saving power.
Yeah.
It's a saving power to save you from what? Yes, sin, disobedience, destruction, the Lord's self. How does the Holy Breath afford you an opportunity to be saved from the lower self? Yeah.
True.
That's good, truth. Yes. Come on, Mom.
Guidance.
Guidance, no question. There's no question. Guidance, direction, and it reinforces your acceptance of the existence of God in you. It helps you to see. It helps you to relate. It helps you to identify just where you are in your stage of development when it comes to your establishing your communication with God. He explains to you the method that it takes.
Yes.
What it takes for me to be able to talk to Allah and get reassurance that He is real. Because that's what we need. We need to actually accept the fact that Allah is real. He's not up there. He's in here. And once we can accept that He's really in here, it makes a transition in your life. But you must accept it. If you don't accept it, that conflict that can't be told in words, it becomes more intense. And the intensity of it can cause you to feel as though you're being overwhelmed. And when you feel that you're being overwhelmed, that Lord self can say, look, ain't no need even trying this. You can't do it. And the minute that He feeds that doubt that's already in us, we find ourselves sometimes surrendering to the promptings and urgings of that carnal nature, doing a wrong to Allah by way of how we look at each other.
That's right.
Come on, yeah.
There's something. And along with that Lord self feeding that doubt,
Yes.
what He'll also do is feed that vanity.
Yes.
See, He'll feed that
Yes.
part of you that say, I already know.
That's right.
I got it already.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And as soon as you get there, He'll feed that.
You feel
You
it.
thinking you somewhere where you ain't.
That's feel. Look, when you get there, you no longer hear His voice and you're lost.
Yes. And don't even know.
And don't even know.
He said, where it's a shame to be ignorant.
Oh, come on, brother.
Have no understanding.
None of them. And then who are you like? The horse and the mule.
Yeah.
You are equated with a horse and a mule, and where there is no understanding.
No. Yeah, because all you listening to is you.
Is you. Man, that's something, man. That's something. I'm listening to me. My sister.
Hey, Mom. I have already risen. I'm going to chapter 37,
Yes.
Holy Instructions from the Prophet,
Yes.
the Breath of Heaven.
Yes.
I'd like to read where it says instruction 3.
Yes.
As the breath of heaven saith unto the waters of the deep, this way shall thy billows roll,
Yes.
and no other.
Yes.
Thus high, and no higher shall they raise their fury.
Yes.
So let thy spirit, O man, actuate and direct thy flesh.
Yes.
So let it repress its wilderness.
Yes.
Okay, when I think of wilderness,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about one's emotions, one's moods.
That's cool.
Okay, and that's
Yeah.
something that, a lot of us, we can be jealous of someone
Yes.
or jealous of a situation.
Yes.
How a woman may look at another woman's husband,
Yeah.
and you get angry
Yeah.
because of that woman looking at your husband or
Yeah.
whatever, or
Yeah.
vice versa.
Yeah.
It can happen vice versa. You have to learn how to control those emotions,
Yeah.
because just like I'm a woman,
Yeah.
they're a woman,
Yeah.
they're gonna find someone else attractive in some manner.
Right.
So I learned within my own self, I had to repress from getting jealous, because I'm asking myself, like, why am I jealous?
Right.
Okay, just like another woman found my husband attractive, I
Right.
can find another man attractive.
Right.
Okay, so no matter what, we're all going to be attracted to someone.
Yeah.
Okay, because we're all living, and that's when I remember my mother always telling me. Well, we was at home, right, and my girlfriend came over. No, her husband came over to the house, and my mom said to my girlfriend's husband, "Oh, he's so handsome," telling him that he's handsome. And I said, "Mom, he's married." And my mother said, "Oh, I'm not dead." So that let me know that she still lives, and no matter what, he just accepted the compliment. That's all it is a compliment.
Yeah.
And it wasn't taking nothing from my girlfriend's husband,
Right.
or wasn't taking nothing from my girlfriend, period.
Right.
It's just that we all want to find somebody attractive in this world. Can you imagine walking around and not being attracted to nobody, or nobody liking you for some particular reason?
Right.
So Allah has helped me to grow in that respect as far as repressing my wilderness, withholding from being jealous,
Yes.
withholding from having an attitude.
Yeah.
And I'm still working on it,
Right.
okay? Because I'm still a woman.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace. Praise Allah. Okay.
You know, I was just thinking about the nature urges.
That's right.
You know, that's what came to mind, urges.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right. That's
the
good.
promptings.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
right.
the promptings, and it was good the way she put that,
Yeah.
the wilderness. And I was just thinking about the urges, and we all go with, we all deal with that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I was just listening to her, so I just praise a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? Not to carry that, but I'm saying we are truly blessed because it's this against the world. And when I say it's this against the world, what's in the world is 1,000 ways. What is it? 1,000 ways to be destroyed. You understand? So you have only one choice here.
Right.
You're going to accept the knowledge and understanding, the education that the prophet brought us. Or either you're going to go back in the world and deal with 1,000 ways of man-made be destroyed. Which way you going to go? Because you know what's there.
Okay.
So it's no excuse for you not to want to go through these doors, continue on with your life. That's what I'm doing now.
Okay. 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 From Crawford.
Okay, I just had a thought,
There's only one way to get the truth, and that's right here.
back to about, how we be wrong in Allah.
Say, go.
How we be wrong, how we do wrong to Allah.
Yeah.
And I had a thought, you know, when the prophet spoke about what was put in us,
Yes.
that was put in us,
Yeah.
the wrong Allah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Telling
Yeah,
you,
that was put in us to do wrong to Allah.
Yeah.
telling you.
Why do you think that is so?
Because once we stray from the holy city, we wasn't functioning in the spirituality of life anymore.
Okay.
And through the sin of disobedience,
Okay.
and honoring dishonoring the person who's our forefather.
Okay. 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 But also too, put in us to keep us in slavery. Remember, he says about European psychology. What is that psychology? Easy. The rulers and the rich live, while the poor suffer and die. That's psychology. And so who will be the rulers and the rich? Those who are the slaveholders. Why would a slaveholder, what's the connection between being rulers and rich and slaveholders? This, they want slaves. Slaves for what? Why do I want another person to bow down to me and to do my bidding? What does that do for me? What does that feed in me? Huh? Your vanity. I want to tell people what to do. I want to have people give me acknowledgement every time I pass someone. You want to be acknowledged. Why? When you pass one another, you should be the one acknowledging the Allah in them. Now, are we growing to the point where I can acknowledge, oh, there's a person passing me, I don't know him, but Allah is there. I can say silently, praise Allah. I acknowledge your presence. Even when they are not doing what we have accepted as what they should be doing, or they're not displaying a certain behavior pattern, we still can say, praise Allah. I know Allah is in there. Because if we don't, we're going to get caught up in what they're doing. And once we start getting caught up in what they're doing, what do we start to do? Judge. Yeah. And we condemn. But when we condemn another, we condemn ourselves. Remember, we do a wrong to Allah with how we think.
Yes.
So the prophet is trying to raise us up so that we won't think like that.
That's
right. The prophet has given us an alternative. You don't have to think like that. And I'm not saying that you're going to make all this transition all overnight. That's impossible. And seek not after impossibilities. But you must learn to work on yourself.
That's
So the psychology is what was put in us. That's what the prophet talking about.
Say what now?
Psychology
The way we think. Remember, that European psychology is no more than teachings.
That's it.
They're teachings that keep us thinking in a certain way. The way that we are thinking, we separate ourselves from the Allah in man. We don't even look at Allah being in man. We just get caught up on what we think man is.
Yes.
Come on here.
That's right. And that psychology, part of that psychology is a system
Yes.
of
Yes.
inequality.
Of inequality.
What they did, what was played on it is that we were made to think that we were lesser than.
Yes.
And by taking, specifically with the Asiatics of North America, who are of Moorish descent, who had their nationality taken away
Yes.
through our sin and disobedience,
Yes.
because we followed after the slaveholder,
Yes.
after we were disobedient to God's law anyway.
Yes. Yes.
What he turned around and did was tell you, okay, if you come in with me, then I'm going to show you, now you can call me God.
Yeah.
That's what the devil does.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, by taking away your nationality, then he's starting to strip you from your roots.
Yes.
So you won't start to recall.
Yes.
And after a period of time, you won't recall, but you'll keep answering up
Yes.
to the names and marks that delude the
That's
slave.
right. That's right.
Every time I don't call you war no more,
Yes.
I'm calling you Negro, Black, and Colored on
Yes.
a regular basis.
Yes.
And that's where it started at,
Yes.
calling you these marks, and we responded to them. That means we started to accept them.
Yes.
And so after it was embedded in our minds over and over, along with one of the other things that the system did was perpetuated the carnal evolution.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, the rulers and the rich understand the laws of carnal evolution.
Yes.
Where the stronger is divided the weaker.
That's right.
And if I can keep you suppressed, not only in your mind, but even with fear and also physical destruction and physical harm,
Yes.
then I'm going to take away everything I need to take from you.
Yes. Yes.
And therefore, I'm in control.
Yes.
So it's all that whole system was in place. And they used it to keep us enslaved.
That's right. And look what they did. They took us and they took our knowledge of God from out of us.
Yes.
Now it's easy for me to mistreat you because we're not taught that God is in you anyway. We're taught about, the outward representation. We're not saying that Allah is in there. So it's easy for me to mistreat you. See, because the carnal evolution is already, as I accept that carnal law, I already know it's me against you. And the weaker and the stronger, they take advantage of the weaker. Well, I don't want to be considered weak, so I'm going to become a advantage taker too. So the glory and the shame is misplaced. And that's what we're working our way back from. We're coming from that state into a more evolved state so that we can learn to honor and respect Allah in who? Man.
Yeah. This is last talk about Brad Sheep.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of the chapter on human equality.
Yes.
Jesus taught that.
Yes.
He could start allowing that thought of dominance, rulers and rich,
Yes.
over those who are just passing through ways of life
Yes.
that are solving much harder than others.
That's right.
You can't look down on them as though they're lesser than you.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Okay. So listen, what does the name Jesus mean?
Jesus means justice.
Did the angel give to the child that was called Jesus a holy name?
Yes.
What is an angel?
Angel of Allah manifested in flesh.
Wait a minute. What is an angel?
Angel of Allah manifested in flesh.
Okay. What are angels used for?
To carry messages to all.
What is our prophet to us?
He allows us to bring us the everlasting gospel.
Okay. What is the everlasting gospel?
This is the same God that comes from Allah, the Father, by His prophet.
What is the covenant of the great God Allah?
Our Father, thy mother, that gave you the water upon earth, and
At what age did Jesus begin to teach?
at the age of 12,
Where did he teach?
India, Africa, and Europe,
How long did he teach?
18 years.
What did Jesus say that would make you free?
Truth.
What is truth?
Truth is all.
What is all?
All is a lie.
Can truth change?
Truth cannot change the past.
Okay. What other name do we give to truth?
Holy breath.
Right. What have you to say about holy breath?
All we can say is great, is good, was, is, and ever going to be. Amen.
At what place on earth was the physical body of man formed?
In the Garden of Eden,
Where is the Garden of Eden?
in the land of Canaan, the city of Mecca.
What is the modern name for the Garden of Eden?
Mecca.
Good. Let's go to chapter 7. Okay, the divine instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter 7, the friendship of Jesus and Lamaze. Jesus explains to Lamaze the meaning of truth, the meaning of ought, the meaning of Allah.
Yes.
And he's talking to his what? He's talking to his what?
Friend.
His friend. We are friends. And in our friendship, we talk about our Creator. It helps us to talk about, it's easier to talk about God with friends. Why do you think that is? Why do you think I can talk about Allah with a friend? What makes it easier to talk to a friend about God? Yes.
Because he knows that you are a spiritual man, and maybe he probably knows that type of spiritual you are, and he don't want to, you want to accept you as what you preach, you teach, or what you talk.
Okay.
You know,
But there's a relationship that allows him to be more open.
There's a what?
Relationship.
A relationship. The same relationship that we must remember.
Yes.
The same relationship that does what here? Binds us. The relationship that binds us. If we're binded, if we have a relationship, it's easy for us to talk about the unseen. I'm not reluctant to say something that might sound out there.
that's right.
I can talk about those things that I haven't seen or I don't see with the physical eye with a friend. Because a friend is not going to look at you like you're off the wall. If they're a friend. See, a friend says, well, I may not see that, but you have every right to see it. We can talk about it. I'm not going to condemn you for saying it. This is just my difference of opinion. And I mean, that's how friends talk.
That's right. That's right. They know what you.
No argument, no debate, no trying to show you up
That's right.
and express that I know more than you.
That's it.
Right.
But we're to listen.
And two Brother Branch, in a friendship, there's some kind of binding.
Yes. Yes.
You can't have a friendship without a binding, some kind of way.
Well, you can't have a friendship without love.
That's the important part.
That's the important part. That's right. Come on, Mom.
And it's mutual respect.
Yes. Well, that'll come from the love.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is binding.
That's right.
It's,
Yes.
and also it allows you to be open,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because even though you may not accept something at that time,
Yeah.
somewhere down the line,
Yeah.
the reflection comes back. And
Yeah.
you start thinking of seeing and realizing it, and you start. That's that trust that you have.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. What is it that you do when you speak to a friend? How do you speak to a friend? In sincerity.
Yes.
And by you speaking in sincerity, what happens?
You hear with instruction.
You hear with instruction. What kind of instruction? That's right. Instruction of truth. Friends speak in truth. Come on, here.
And
Yeah.
also, what we're learning is friends should speak in kindness.
Yes. Yes.
See, it's easy to accept something with somebody to give me some kindness
Yes.
versus, oh, this one is, huh? Wait a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
I left all the words you said because you roughing me up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't stop listening.
Yeah.
So kindness got to be there.
Got to be wrong.
And to be able to establish that friendship, there has to be some form of common attraction.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you don't go left and then I'm going right. And then if we don't have something in common,
Right.
it allows us to want to even come together to have a discussion because we both going in two different directions.
Right.
But when you build a friendship, there's got to be something, some common ground that you look for. I mean, you establish.
Yeah.
You don't even realize it, but as the process is going through, but you grab it, it's something that attracts that individual and you to one another, and you can have certain discussions because you both can have a conversation about things that may not be privy to other people who are not in that arena at that time.
Right.
So it's unseen bonding
Yeah.
that an individual put together, and I think the church and in respect of it is very important
Right.
because you're going to have your misunderstanding,
Right.
but the relationship is greater than the disagreements
Right.
if it's true friendship.
Right. Right. You know what? In a true friendship, do you know Allah talks to Allah? Come on.
Like,
Come on.
Yes.
can hear the conversation.
Right.
Allah speaking to Allah. Come on, Mom.
I think that you gotta have an open heart.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta have an open heart because you might hear what you want to hear, then you might hear what you don't want to hear.
Yeah.
Therefore, you can take it,
Yeah.
you know, with that trust,
Yeah.
you know.
You know, when Allah speaks to you and he tells you what you don't want to hear, it's just like you hearing what you want to hear. Because you know where it's coming from.
Right.
It's coming from Allah. That's right. So we're talking about the friendship of Jesus and Lamar. Jesus explains to Lamar the meaning of truth. I'm going to read until I'll stop at 13. We'll pick up. Among the priests of Jaconoth was one who loved the Jewish boy. Lama's promise was the name by which the priest was known. One day, as Jesus and Lamar walked along the plaza Jaconoth, Lamar said, "My Jewish master, what is truth?" And Jesus said, "Truth is the only thing that changes not. In all the world, there are two things. The one is truth, the other is falsehood. And falsehood, that which seems to be. Now, truth is all and has no cause, and yet it is the cause of everything. Falsehood is naught, and yet it is the manifested right. Whatever has been made will be unmade. That which begins must end. All things that can be seen by human eyes are manifested all, are naught, and so must pass away. The things we see are but reflexes, just appearing, while the ethers vibrate so and so. And when conditions change, they disappear. The holy breath is truth, is that which was and is and evermore shall be. It cannot change nor pass away. Lamar said, "You answer well. Now what is man?" And Jesus said, "Man is the truth and falsehood strangely mixed. Man is the breath made flesh. So truth and falsehood are conjoined in him. And then they strive, and naught goes down. And man, as truth, abides." Okay. What's this, what? And then they strive. Who's striving? Where's the striving coming from?
Truth and falsehood.
Truth and falsehood. And to be more explicit,
The high self.
the high self and low self. And what else? What else? What else? What else are we talking about? The flesh. The flesh. Yes, it's what you said, no question. But we're talking about, we're saying, because man is truth and what?
Falsehood. Strangely mixed.
Man is the breath made what?
Flesh.
Flesh.
And naught goes down.
It has to.
So that means that when that, because it had beginning, it has an end.
Yes.
And that man is truth.
Abides. That's right. Because you know the flesh got to be, it has to disintegrate.
Yeah.
Yes.
So believe that striving is that suppression of that will.
Yet more. That striving is the conflict that
Cannot be told words. Yes.
Yeah, and what you're saying, yes.
Yes. I get it. I got you.
That's the fight. The fight is between ourselves, accepting of the things that we think we see, and learning how to recognize that they're not real. And accept that they're not real. See, that's the fight. It's hard for me to say that's not real, and physically, I see the manifestation of it.
Exactly.
Especially after the psychology has been put on us or put in us to recognize and accept the things we see.
Especially some feelings come with it.
Come on, Mo.
Yeah. And that's desire.
That's right.
We desire more and more.
That's right.
Of the illusion.
That's of the illusion. I trust it. Look, there are many who trust the illusion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do everything they can to get it.
Yes.
You know, and everything they can to keep it.
Yeah.
Never satisfied.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
ma'am.
I have already risen.
Yes.
You can take this personally,
Yes.
and then at the same time, it's collective in regards to everybody, right?
Yes. Yes.
Now, when you say, I desire,
Yes.
that's in the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio says, I desire. So whoever produces a Scorpio child, most likely they desire to know oneself and to know God, okay? And they have desires within their own self to understand themselves. Like I had a son who's a Scorpio.
Yes.
Okay, I had that desire. Now that's a conflict that's within my own self, right? That I didn't understand myself, I didn't know myself.
Right.
By me coming to the Moorish Science Temple of America, the prophet helped me understand.
Right.
And then each sign that we go through, there's 12 signs in the Zodiac, is dealing with the emanations, which is dealing with the head.
Yes.
We all conscious of something.
Yes.
Okay. Aries says I am. So to me, Aries can say that I am, how you say, one with God.
Yes.
I ain't gonna say he's God, but he's one with God.
Okay.
Taurus says I have. That's saying that you have something, you have peace within oneself or harmony. But we all have to work through something in life. So to me, by me understanding the science of astrology, it helped me understand where I'm at.
Yes.
Leo, that's me as far as the astrology sign that I was born under. That's divine intellect. That's intelligence. We all have intelligence.
Yes.
Okay, and Leo says, I will. So in my own self, I'm saying I will obey God. I will live in peace with oneself. I will live in harmony with nature, period.
Yes.
By living in peace with harmony, living in peace with nature, you're trying not to put anything that's within you that's unclean.
Yeah.
That's why the prophet says, keep your hearts and mind pure with love and your bodies clean with water. It's not just to keep your outside clean, it's to keep your inside clean as well. Yeah. And that's why we have to understand the lesson that the prophet has given us, because it will awaken us and make us one. Because in the first chapter, I believe it says, the prophet says he will restore harmony and peace. That's being uninjured.
Yeah.
Okay, I believe it's, I'm trying my best to explain it, but you can't, like the prophet said, it cannot be told in words.
Right.
Everybody's not going to understand where I'm coming from, because everybody don't understand astrology,
Sure.
or they're not dealing with their own psychological mindset.
Yeah.
But once I understood that, why did I have this Scorpio child? What was going on within me?
Yeah.
You know, that brought forth this child. But Allah let me know that I did know myself. I did know that I know right from wrong. Okay, but it's our choices that we make. Okay, that determines our fate.
That's right.
Okay,
That's
so
right.
that's what I'm understanding. Peace.
Very good. That's good. Look, the 12 signs are the signs that we must pass through. Mm-hmm. Because all of those signs offer man a stage of development that he needs. So we go through those doors. Because there are things that you learn as a Scorpio that you don't learn as an Aquarius. You have to learn as an Aquarius by going through the door that opens to you through Aquarius.
And Aquarius is altruism. That's selfless love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and that's something that's my opposite.
Yeah.
Okay, which I'm a Leo, and they say Leo are selfish. We have to learn to come up out of that vein saying, oh, I am this, I am that. You know,
Yeah.
I'm so proud of this or whatever.
Yeah.
But when you look at your opposite sign, that lets you know that's something that you really have to work towards.
Yeah.
Which being selfless,
That's
not being so selfish.
That's right. That's right. See, because we must pass through all of what?
Ways of
Ways of life, and each sign offers us a way of life. That's good. Okay. That's time. All right, look. Man is the breath made flesh, so truth and falsehood are conjoined in him. And then they strive. Strive means to do what? Struggle. And then they strive, and naught goes down, and man as truth abides. So in your striving, what happens? What happens when you strive? Come on, Mo. Okay, come on.
So you gain strength.
Yeah, but in your striving, what happens?
You sin.
No, naught goes down. The only way that naught is going to go down is that you what? Strive. You got to fight. You got to fight. You can't be passive when it's dealing with you.
Yes, sir.
You can't say it's what I've always done to give an excuse to continue to do it. You can't do that. You got to look at yourself, examine yourself, and determine is as if is this for the benefit of my spiritual growth and development. You got to be willing to fight.
Yeah.
You. When things take place that you don't like, you got to fight to how you respond to them.
Well,
Come on.
I was thinking as you were speaking, when you said fight, I was thinking about the axe.
Yeah.
And you know, like you said, the things that was put in us.
Yeah.
You know, you think about fighting, you be thinking about grabbing a weapon.
Yeah.
You know, we have to take that axe
Yeah.
and cut away
Yeah.
those usually our gaming parts.
Yeah.
You know, in our struggle.
Yeah, Mom. Yeah. You know, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't just grab the axe and just hold it.
Right. You got to chop something.
Like you're going to make you threaten it. You got to chop something.
Yeah.
Come on, Mom.
And you know one thing to teach, brother, the carnal nature man must fight, and the
Yeah.
prophet is teaching us
Yes.
how to fight.
Yes.
Because he said, you know, it was said that, you know, don't try to cut off everything too soon at once, because you may hurt yourself. So even in our fighting, we have to be more conscious of what we're doing and how we're doing it, because you can get an axe and you don't know how to use it. You can do more harm than you can do good.
Oh, no question. That's
See,
right.
and that's any tool.
That's right.
So it's a blessing to learn, and the real blessing to me is you.
Yeah.
You're fighting you.
Yeah,
And
Mom.
that's the conflict.
That's the
It
key.
cannot be told you. And that's why I can hear when he said you ain't got no time in pulling other people weeds.
No, no.
Because in reality, all your weeds need to be addressed.
Yeah.
And when you wrestle with that monster that's in you, you don't have no energy.
Right.
If you're seriously wrestling
Right.
to go in there and deal with anybody else.
Right.
Because you need to get ready for the next battle.
That's right.
Because it's coming.
It's coming. That's right. That's right. That's right. Look, Theo, can you please, you know, just pick up 14. So, y'all have a, let's say, lab.
Great. Great.
Yes, sir.
Some horse.
Islam,
I just want to continue and give praise to Allah, the great God of the universe, honor to His holy prophet of the dwelling, and honor to each and every one of you. We're already in a flow, and that's what's good about already me having to step in. So now we can just keep the flow going. And Grand Sheik, we're going to pick up on number 14. And it reads again, Allah Lamaz asked, what do you say of power? And Jesus said, it is a manifest, it is a result of force. It is but not, it is illusion, nothing more. Force changes not, but power changes as the ethers change. Force is the will of Allah and is omnipotent. And power is that will and manifest directed by the breath. There is a power in the winds, a power in the waves, a power in the lightning stroke, a power in the human arm, a power in the eye. The ethers cause these powers to be, and thought of Elohim, of angel, man, and other thinking things directs the force. When it is done when it has done its work, the power is no more. Praise be to Allah, most now. We just read from 14 to 18. Talks about power. What is your feedback on it? Lamaz asked, what do you say of power? And Jesus explained. How do we see it? Islam, my brother.
My brother, Leon works. We last Sunday school I had asked you a question.
Yes.
About the ethers.
Yes, you
And you asked me, did I look up the definition? So I'm trying to, it say the East is changed. Okay, I'm gonna just read what I
Go ahead, read what you have.
okay. One with spiritual understanding knows that the East exists as an imagination of mind and should not be confused in its limitation with matter. Its being is governed and sustained by ideas. Ideas have no physical dimension. So, but so we can't see the ether. Explain to me what the ether is. That's, you know what I'm saying. Okay.
What's your thought of what the ether is after you looked up that definition?
It's like a spirit, something like a spirit that I can't. I'm trying to put it together. Because I heard it saying, I said it before, you know, the ether, you know, you hear people say the ether is all. So does that have any vibration, anything to do with like your emotions or how you feeling? You know what I'm saying? Because some days I might wake up and I feel off balance. You know what I mean? And I be trying to figure out like what's going on with me today. So I look within myself and try to figure out. And sometimes I say some things might be off, but you can't see them. But it's like you kind of can feel it. There's something, you know what I mean? That something ain't right. So could that be, you know, like the ether, like I said, the ether vibrating? Could that mean? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
kind of
it is a vibration.
Yeah.
It is a vibration. It's a medium in which thought travels.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that, and remember, the spirit exists on either plane. You want to follow up and read chapter 11. It explains about the things where Abraham created. And how I believe for he created things. So we want to look at that. I don't want to just tell you, I want you to study it for yourself. So we talk about, and along with that, we talk about this power. And what does he say about power? What did he say about power right here?
It is magic.
It is an illusion. And he even put something else behind it. But he said, it is illusion. He said, nothing more. That's the emphasis being placed on what power is. It is illusion, nothing more. Then he went on to say, force changes not, but power changes as the ethers change. Now, how do we see that? Power changes as the ethers change. What should be something that comes to mind with that?
Because,
come on, brother.
because power is manifest. Right?
Yes.
So, with the Easter thing, they disappear, right?
Yes.
Because
now,
power is manifest.
Why is that? Why do we think that is keeping it simple? I mean, well, I don't say that, but just why do we say that? Brother Jackson, here, I saw you. I'm gonna get back to you. Brother Jackson, I saw your hand.
Oh, I was speaking on the word power. You know, it's illusion, or which we know. But in that illusion, you will never see it. You will never see it, Mo. It takes a lot to bring it to your attention.
Until when?
Yeah, well, where you can go to jail, get killed.
Oh, no. Wait a minute, I ain't talking about that. But even with those examples, it says it right here. It has to have force behind it for it to manifest.
Right.
Yeah.
Directed by the breath.
Directed by the breath. No Calvin's break?
I was just gonna say, it's temporary.
And why is that?
Because it's falsehood, and so it will change, it could pass away at any time.
And I'm just getting one thing that's somehow, but it's thought.
There you go.
And man's thought changes.
Okay.
And when we change our thought, the power is no more. It's not my sister. Did you have your hand up?
I was gonna say something about understanding.
Yes, that's part of it. But see, as our thoughts change, so does the illusions change.
But that's what they are directed by the right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I said, it gotta come from Allah.
He said it's the illusion. All right. Now we're gonna stay with the rest. Okay.
Yes, sir.
He said, but power changes as the ethers change. The ethers are controlled by thought.
Oh, okay.
And when we change our thoughts, that makes the ether vibrate so and so. How y'all think we manifest? I ain't gonna say how y'all think, but this is how we manifest, because our will got sluggish. Our thinking got sluggish. What do you think? Your thinking got sluggish. We didn't hold our will in tune with the other will. We didn't hold that with the force. We didn't hold our will in tune. So when we got sluggish, the ethers start to become more what?
Dense.
Yes. They become more dense. They're slowing down now. We was able to create because things were moving at a more rapid pace. And it was being held. By who? Well, that's it. Yeah, but by who is it according to this?
Man of the angel of
either him, of angel, man, and other taken things. It's on.
That's another question. Okay, Elohim, when I looked it up, it said like a god or
What it say according to Koran?
Man called these 7 spirits evil. Man identified 7 spirits.
In the book. The 7 created spirits. They create everything that ever was, is, and ever more to be.
Doors.
Men call these 7 spirits Elohim. I just referred to chapter 11.
yes, sir.
So study that and read it, and then you'll get a picture of how things manifest. Come on, my brother.
Also, Elohim is just not the thought of Allah, just the creative thoughts of Allah. And like the brother was saying, like men call these, but they're not but just the 7 creative spirits. They're just the thought of Allah. And and man, like we on a finite plane. So we on a plane where we gotta personalize everything. So that's why men say we call it spirit, these spirit plane things of that nature, but it's still just nothing but the thought of Allah. We just had personified so we can kind of understand.
Let's do this though. Right. Let's not diminish our thought nothing but.
Yeah.
I know you trying to explain it, but all of our thoughts are high. They're everlasting. So you don't want to say they're nothing but. They are important thought of Allah. They are a creative. He gave them creative power.
That's right.
They have creative attributes. He used them. He breathed forth. So that means that they were something very important in terms of the existence of the things that we have come to know. And they can create everything that ever was, is, and ever more to be. These 7 creative spirits had a power with the force of Allah behind them. And then he gave them that power so that they could be able to bring things into existence. So we gotta make sure we not, see, we're raising this thing up.
Yes, sir.
We're trying to understand it from a carnal point of view, from a finite point of view, and now he's letting us at least get a glimpse into some of the infinite. So when we get into the infinite, we don't want to not look at it as though it's something very much more than what we can see. Because the finite mind cannot comprehend things that are infinite. So we got to start that ascent in our thinking. That's where it exists. In our thinking. Our finite minds have to become more infinite, because that's what spirit man is. So this power that he talks about, he said, force is the will of Allah, and that's important to know. Force is the will of Allah and is omnipotent. And power is that will in manifest, directed by the breath. What breath we talking about?
Holy breath.
Holy breath. So force is the will of Allah and is omnipotent, and power is the will of that will in manifest. So as we see it, that's why things become manifested here and directed by the breath. So that we want to keep it in tune and bring our will in tune with his will. He said, yes.
Yeah, I just want to add, because we put the Allah part in. But we left out the angel, man, and other things that directs this breath.
No, we didn't leave it out.
Not people, no, just in the last explanation, I heard him say, oh, but they just left it like that. We got to understand it, because we understand that man is a creator too.
Yeah.
So, and by his he can direct thought and and it is manifest. And this is what we're trying to teach now, that we constantly creating on a regular, through our thinking and the things we do.
But here's the thing about that creation. In order to create what we're talking about here, we have to be in tune with Allah, because he's not creating. See, we can create several things. Not just of the higher self. The lower self creates too.
Right.
So we want to make sure that when we're creating, and what you're talking about is of a higher nature, because we're talking about, when you're talking about that ethers cause these powers to be, and thought of Elohim, higher created spirits, of angel, a higher created being, man, and you're talking about spirit man, and other thinking things, deities that are made flesh. He said, because all creatures think.
And every creature is possessed of will.
Yes.
And it's measured as power to choose.
Exactly. But when it chooses what's right.
Well, we created this ain't right.
You calm down for a second.
No, I'm just trying to get some understanding.
Well, you will if you don't talk. No, what you said is fine.
Okay.
But yes, we created this. And that's what I was trying to say to you in reference to, we got to watch what's being created. Because if it's being created with a high thought, then that comes with the force of Allah behind it. Man creates things that don't have that force behind it. And therefore, even though it comes into manifest, yeah, we created, the handiwork of man is evil.
Yeah.
Allah didn't create none of that.
Right.
That's part of the lower self.
Right.
And we just talked about the carnal evolution. Allah didn't create that.
Right.
That's part of the lower self.
Right.
So I'm just distinguishing those two things.
Okay.
Someone had to have Islam book.
It just made me think about chapter 37, up in heaven. How often are the eyes unable to distinguish truth from error?
Mm-hmm.
It depends on how you're looking at it. If you're looking at it in a low state, then that's how you're going to see it. But if you see that Allah, that's his creation, then we're going to have it. We're going to look at it in another state. So, our eyes, they do distinguish what's real and what's error. Depends on how you think it.
Yeah, your thinking got to be on high to get the truth. That's how you distinguish the truth from the falsehood, is when your thinking is on high.
Yeah.
When it's a carnal way of thinking, it's going to be bordered right there with the illusion that's going to pass away. It's not going to go.
Yes, sir. You know, one of the things that I in reading, listening, what helps me is that it guides us to remember we often talk about holding the thought.
Yes.
Holding the thought of high things gives us the power that is directed by the force. See, but it also, once we don't hold the thought, we lose that power.
Yes.
So it's important for us to try to become more consistent in holding high thoughts so that we can get that power that is directed by the breath.
Yes.
So that we can manifest righteous things. But at the same time, so often, and I'm talking about me, I may relinquish my power because there's other thoughts that I want to entertain. So what I'm learning, what I'm listening and we talking and I'm listening, it's important to try to hold high thoughts, even when they challenge.
That's it.
Because that's where we get our power from. That's where the power comes from, holding those thoughts. And that's just something I want to say. Peace.
And remember what he said. I see it. Remember what he said. He said, "Good is that power."
That's right.
Then he said, "The want of good," meaning the lack of good, is evil.
That's good. Praise God. That's real. I hear that.
And that's what you just said. When you hold the thought, you can do good.
Yes.
That's your power.
Come on.
But how often do we do that?
Come on.
How consistent do we do that?
Come on.
Because just like you just said, we have entertained other thoughts. So that means the power we had to do good
has been put to the side.
Yes.
What that other stuff?
It has done its job.
Yes.
For a period of time.
That's right.
Because now we're using our thinking to go to other areas.
Come on.
But the point that's being made, we need to try and be as consistent as we can in order to maintain our power of good.
Come on.
The force of Allah is behind it. But we can't stand here and talk about we always thinking about Allah. You know that ain't true. We be thinking about the football game. We be thinking about that basketball game. We be thinking about that car I want to get. Yeah, we say praise Allah if we get it, or we put our name in some of it. But we ain't initiating that high thought all the time. But Martin, come on.
Well, I don't know if I should hold or not, but I'm just gonna put a little bit of this. Because the way I'm hearing it when I'm reading it and also when it's being said, is that power, first of all, is an illusion. Okay. Now, how it comes into manifest is directed by the breath. And that breath is the thought of Elohim, man, angel, and other thinking things. Now, man can use this power.
Let me stop you for a second.
Go ahead.
The reason I am because I want you to hear what's in the book about what you're saying.
Right.
It doesn't say that the powers come through. Let me read what it says.
Okay.
It says the ethers cause these powers to be.
Right.
And thought of Elohim, of angel, man, and other thinking things directs the force.
Right.
Thought of them directs the force. The things you name it directs the force. And when it has done its work, the power is no more.
Okay.
So I'm trying to go back and read that again.
Yeah, I'll go back. I'm gonna go and get it, and I'm gonna try to go with a little bit more, and I'll bring it.
Right.
I'll bring it to Wednesday.
All right. Praise God.
One thing too, brother, one thing come to mind is that power is not limited.
Yeah.
See, we can't put a span on that power. Allah's the only one that can put the span on it. See, sometimes I think what we do, and I'm not saying you, Brother Monty, or anybody else, that power is not limited. That power is everlasting. That good that's our power, it's everlasting as long as we can hold the thought to keep the power going. But it does what it does, but we don't know when do it have done his good. So that's just something I was thinking about in the process.
Okay. I'm gonna finish reading this chapter, reading to the end of the chapter. And all this is about right now is the exercise, and we gotta go back and study and read. And just ask Allah to reveal to us what we need to know so that we get a greater understanding on things. But we're on course. Even when we make interchange or change a few words, but remember, let's keep it in the context and read each word as Allah has given the prophet to get to us. And I think that's kind of what sometimes we make interchange power with ethers and those types of things. But let's read the chapter and make sure we study it. He said, again, Lamar asked, of understanding what did Jesus say? And Jesus said, it is the rock, and this is important, all of this is important. But it is the rock on which man builds himself. It is the gnosis of the art and of the knowledge, of falsehood and of truth. It is the knowledge of the Lord's self, the sensing of the powers of man himself. Again, Lamar asked, of wisdom, what have you to say? And Jesus said, it is the consciousness that man is art, that Allah and man are one, that naught is naught, that power is but illusion, that heaven and earth and hell are not above, around, below, but in, which in the light of art becomes naught, and Allah is all. Lamar asked, pray, what is faith? And Jesus said, faith is the surety of the omnipotence of Allah and man. The certainty that man will reach the infinite light. Salvation is a ladder reaching from the heart of men to the heart of Allah. It has 3 steps. Belief is first, and this is what man thinks, and happens true. And faith is next, and this is what man knows is true. Fruition is the last, and this is man himself, the truth. Belief is lost in faith, and in fruition, faith is lost. And man is saved when he has reached the infinite light, when he and Allah are one. So that's important for us to go through these steps and read all these over again and study them, because we have a lot to absorb. And one of the things that just jumped out at me as I read it again is that faith is the surety of the omnipotence of Allah and man. Man is omnipotent. We got to remember that. And the reason man has all of the attributes of Allah in it. All of the attributes. He didn't say some. He said all. Praise be to Allah for these divine instructions, Mark. It's been a good class, and we thank our blind shaking moderator for bringing us this far. Peace.
Islam. We had a very good Sunday school. Hope you got some out of it. Yeah. I want to thank Lord Jones Baker, moderator here for this, and also Pete Chase Hill. The assistant grand chief of Moore Science Temple and Temple 71. And we did exercise our 5 senses, so you know about. Hope you take something home. Help you with your journey. So I'm going to call right now the governor. I want you to see the HRS Bay. Read from the one.
Islam wars.
Islam.
First, I give praise to Allah, honor the Prophet, Noble Ali. I give honor to each and every one of you. I give honor for everything Prophet Noble Ali has brought for the uplifting for humanity. Prophet warns all modern governors, order to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the street. We offer peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards in your opinion and causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We offer love, truth, peace, and freedom. And when these principles are violated, justice then must take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive a reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card, button, cease wearing their turban or fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet therefore is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sins by order of Prophet Noble Ali. Peace.
Peace. Amen.
Islam.
Islam.
They will have the grand governor of Washington, D.C.
Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen.